The government has announced that it is considering a smoking ban in outdoor venues and pub gardens. Here's Starmer arguing for the consideration on Sky News.
Over 80,000 people lose their lives every year because of smoking. That's a preventable death. It's a huge burden on the NHS, and of course it's a burden on the taxpayer. So yes, we are going to take decisions in this space. More details will be revealed, but this is a preventable series of deaths, and we've got to take the action to reduce the burden on the NHS and reduce the burden on the taxpayer.
So the proposal has been met with praise from healthcare organisations, while lobby groups for pubs and nightlife are concerned about the effect on hospitality. Unsurprisingly, conservative media has gone into overdrive, calling the proposal absurd and accusing the government of creating a nanny state. Zoe, what are you thinking? You're into this, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, look, it's really bad timing. I think I can say that, and I don't think this was. Labour, I think, were very annoyed that this was briefed out because, Keir Starmer just stood up and said everything's going to be terrible for a long time. And of course, with all the fallout from the riots, there's a big sort of caucus of right-wingers already calling him authoritarian. So when people get word that you're going to introduce a very authoritarian and very gloomy policy, it's just not helpful.
Everything's rubbish and you cannot have a cheeky
and by the way,
ciggy
no more
either.
cigarettes. Yeah, exactly. Do I think it's a bad policy? I'm in two minds. There is a sort of libertarian part of me that thinks, who cares? But I think when it comes to smoking, and particularly my thing is the NHS, right? The NHS is in such dire straits, and there's only so much that, plugging it with money and trying to reform bits of it can do. What we really need is a preventative approach to healthcare. And smoking, it costs the NHS so much money. It takes a lot of people's lives. I can completely understand the public health drive to save the NHS by pushing people away from smoking. And with cigarettes, they're highly addictive. A lot of people start smoking socially. I started smoking socially when I was at university. So if you make it a bit more socially unacceptable, you can see that people would stop doing it.
Yeah.
Pub gardens.
I didn't hear that there was a lot of secondhand smoke problems in pub gardens. I thought that was mediated by the being outdoors. So, and I'm not really sure how they're going to enforce this. You're just going to send a load of smokers to a couple of roads over and they'll all congregate, and I don't really understand how it's going to work. Yes, I am biased. I do like to be in a pub garden and have a cigarette. So
me too. And and this is what I kind of struggle with.
A few weeks ago, we spoke to the chair of the NHS Confederation, Victor Adeboale, and he told us that a really good way of thinking about how we organise society is to think about health in every single policy. I mean, in some respects, this is a perfect example about that. So I kind of get it, but I also have this thing where Rishi Sunak has brought in legislation where generationally the ability to buy cigarettes is going to be phased out, right? So is this a problem that really needed to be solved right now? Or is this a show of, Sunak did it, so I'm going to do it more. I'm going to do it double. I'm going to do it quicker. I don't fully get it. So I'm a bit... Yeah, I'm on the fence.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that is very, very interesting is when you look at the sheer amount of money to be made from cannabis, and medicinal cannabis, and actually how I think the market is $1 billion or $2 billion or something like that. You can imagine a situation where actually there might be quite a lot of economic sense to legalise cannabis, and I just think it would be a brilliant right-wing head spinner.
A plot twist if Keir Starmer was like, no to the cigarettes, yes to weed.
Exactly.